So Tyson, we got our last two game slate here probably for a little bit. And it's been kind of nice. We've been doing the Monday night shows for our paid members, no, not subscribers, our paid members, and doing the two game just to supplement those viewers for free. So I think this is going to be one of the last nights you're going to be able to do that. But I think we've got a pretty interesting one here, and we got to find a way to make these two Monday night games at least moderately enjoyable, right? We got one fun one and then one dog shit game.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that one. Monday night, let's do it, buddy. Two gamer. There's a 500K contest on DraftKings. Let's do it. What is up, guys? Welcome to the Edge DFS. My name is Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. Ellie, we're recording this on Sunday night. How'd you do today? Fucking, if you didn't have a lot of Dolphins, you're pretty much screwed, right?
Yeah, man, I didn't do all that great. Like, and it's not even just the Dolphins. If you didn't have A Chain or Mostert, like you're done. It's as simple as that. But the good news is I have a whole shitload of those guys in best ball, and just an unreasonable amount of Miami in general. So
Yeah.
it's kind of cool starting to see some of those teams pull away.
Some of these best ball scores that I've been looking at are just absolutely insane, dude. Because I went heavy when I stacked, dude. All right, this isn't a best ball show. Let's get into this matchup. Or these two matchups. All right, so we've got two games. The first game, let's start with that. So we're going to go over here to Eagles versus Buccaneers. This is in Florida. Weather should be okay, but hey, this is Florida. It looks like, it's expected to have some rain, but it's too early to tell. It could just pop up. So just keep an eye on that. You could get a little thunderstorm action later in the evening. Eagles are 5-point road favorites, and this is a 45 total. 89% of the bets coming in on the Eagles. So thoughts on this game, man? Tampa Bay has overachieved. Baker has looked good. I think, what is he ranked, like the third quarterback according to PFF? He's looked pretty good. This is the only team that doesn't have a turnover yet this year after Dallas turned the ball over earlier today against the Cardinals. So the Buccaneers, their schedule has been pretty easy if you look at it. They beat the Bears last week. They beat the Vikings week 1. The Eagles beat the Vikings last week on that Thursday night game. So what are your thoughts here, man? Can this game be close? What are you looking here for this matchup? I think Baker Mayfield at his price, especially on Showdown, obviously, but his price here is pretty damn good. Thoughts on Tampa Bay stacks? How heavy do you need to go with Philadelphia? We'll get into injuries here in a minute, but it looks like we're going to have another Philadelphia running back problem to solve, right?
Yeah, man. So this game is probably going to be one of the chalkier. It's going to be the higher total. Kind of depending on what you're expecting to happen with the LA, Cincinnati, and just Joe Burrow's injury situation. But look, we go into that pretty in depth on the Monday Night Members show. So I'm not going to give away everything that we give to the paid group here. But I do want to say, like, I do think Tampa Bay will at least stay in this game. I don't know if they're going to be able to win. Philly's pretty good, but I think one thing that we have learned about Philly is maybe their secondary isn't necessarily, or their defense isn't necessarily holistically as good as it was last year. So we all know Tampa Bay has Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and our showdown secret weapons. Cheap ass. What is his name? Trey Palmer, third wide receiver. Yeah, like I think there's some weapons here that can be exploited. So I really like stacking this game. You do it however you want to.
I feel like attacking the secondary of the Eagles, they did lose a major starter in the secondary, and their run defense is still pretty strong. But I think if they're going to attack anything, the Buccaneers, it's going to be through the air. All right, let's go to the other game here. This is LA Rams going into Cincinnati. Bengals are 2-point favorites. When we did the show, the Showdown show last night, they were 2.5-point favorites. This is a 44 total. So both of these defenses are not very good. The Rams are ranked 32nd in defense, even though they haven't given up a ton of points. They're just not a very good defense overall. We knew that coming into this year. But I'm not going to bury the lead here. If Joe Burrow plays, which there's a chance he does, I think he's going to be out. I think they put him on IR. Maybe this is just all gamesmanship, trying to mess with the other team potentially. But there's a chance he plays, according to reports. If he plays, he's got to be well enough to come. I mean, we've seen him not do well so far this year, but he did a better last week. T. Higgins got involved. What are we doing if he plays? I think you got to be super interested in the Bengals a lot more so. And if he's out, are we interested in his backup? And what does that do to the rest of these guys? Do they focus more with Joe Mixon in this game? What are we thinking here in both situations?
I mean, look, I don't. We'll have to keep an eye on kind of just ownership expectations as we get closer. If for whatever reason, reason would be Joe Burrow's injury status. If his ownership comes in a little bit suppressed, then I think you got to be kind of heavy on the Bengals and their offense, just because we need some sort of like cheap leverage. Not even cheap in this case, I guess. We need some leverage against the field if there's only three playable offenses. So here's what I will say: hop in the Discord. We'll chop it up in there, kind of just like as soon as we get the news, and then we'll kind of redirect to how we're going to build. So, and one of the things I think that we should kind of just do for this show is like I think we just build for the most part with Joe Burrow being in. If you want kind of like an in-depth breakdown of what happens with Joe Burrow being out, again, that's what we did for the Monday night showdown. I'm personally leaning towards that direction, but at the same time, right, we got to go with the news from Adam Schefter. If Joe Burrow is playing, you can't think that they're willing to risk their entire season for him to play one game against the Rams.
It's a lot of guaranteed money to risk him if he's not well enough. I mean, I'm sure they're going to drug him up a ton. The reports are now, we'll get into injuries right now. Reports are now that he's trending towards maybe being able to tough it out, and it's a true game time decision. I don't know. I kind of think that's BS. That's just my opinion on it. If you guys want to join our members, click down. There's a button down below that says join. You'll be able to check out those 2 Monday night shows, and you'll get a Monday night show every single week from us. All right, let's get into injuries here.
Yeah, just pain. It was pain everywhere.
All right, so like we talked about here, let's just briefly talk about this when it comes to Burrow and see what we're seeing here. Burrow will go through a workout tomorrow morning. It would help determine his status, blah, blah, blah. You got Adam Schefter, saying he's could play. He's truly questionable. But the thing that jumps out to me is they signed A.J. McCarron from the XFL, from the Battlehawks. He worked out, a day or two ago for them. They officially signed him to the practice squad, which to me signifies maybe Joe Burrow goes on the IR for 4 games and they get a guy to come in with some NFL experience to back up Browning. So I don't know. That's just what I'm seeing now. But it's worth noting the fact that they're bringing in a dude off the street to be a backup potentially. When it comes to other injuries for the Bengals, not a whole lot to talk about. Well, we do need to talk about the Rams, and Puka Nacua is questionable, but it seems like he will play. Is that what you're hearing and seeing about Puka?
Yeah, man. And look, he's important, but what was it? It was oblique. So I mean, that's weird too, though. Like you can wake up and just have a cramp in the morning and just fuck your whole oblique up. So keep an eye on it. Again, hop on the Discord. We'll really be talking about inactives once we get them. An hour and a half before lock?
Yeah, and we talked about this last week with the 2-game slate. When you're building, you don't really have to worry about late swap or any of that stuff because you're going to get news on the second game before the first game locks. All right, so let's look at the Eagles. We got Quez Watkins, who is out, and guess what? Boston Scott's out as well. So, and Gainwell is now off the injury report. So we're seeing reports that, obviously Swift crushed last week, but this is the Eagles. Whatever we think is going to happen probably won't happen. So you'd have to think that Swift would come out again, but Kenny G has been their guy. They've said he's the guy, and can you lose your job to an injury? I don't know. Kenny Gainwell, I think, is a good play. He's much cheaper than Swift. Everybody's going to be playing Swift. And I could see a situation where it's 60% of the snaps go to Gainwell in this game. So what are your thoughts on some of these injuries here, with especially Quez Watkins? We got Olamide Zaccheaus as a cheap option potentially, even though most of the volume on this team goes to the 2 top wide receivers, the backs, and maybe Goddard. So thoughts on these injuries here?
I think the biggest one for me is just having guys like Reed Blankenship and James Bradbury back for this game. I do think that there's still some some holes in that defense, but that is definitely helpful. In this one right here, Avonte Maddox going on. He's going to be on IR, but that is something that does create a bit of a hole, but it's not the same as last week where you didn't have Reed and whatever his other name is. But that's important. And then obviously Kenneth Gainwell being back, Boston Scott being out, that matters. I think we're just back into the field of probably don't need to play Rashad Penny.
Yeah, exactly. I think Rashad Penny will be active for this game. So, I'm not going to play him, though, because unless Gainwell or Boston Scott get hurt, I'm not touching him. Again, I learned my lesson last time. So Vita Vea is questionable. Devin White, Carlton Davis is questionable. Chase Edmonds is on the IR now, so that opens up a backup spot here, even though he kind of wasn't even really the backup, to be honest. Vita Vea being out, it seems like he should play. If you look at this, it says Bucs are enjoying a rare Saturday practice. Devin White, Vita Vea, all seem fine today. Carlton Davis still uncertain. So it seems like those guys will play, but we'll have to kind of wait. If Vita Vea is out, I mean, are you changing your strategy? I know it doesn't seem like a huge deal, but this could open up a lot of options for the Eagles offensively, both in the run game and getting a little bit more time for Jalen Hurts to throw the ball, right?
Yeah, man. I think it has some impact, but like I don't know if it's changing my plans from a DFS perspective. Maybe my straight gambling side, like if I'm just placing straight wagers, but I don't know. He is solid though. I do like him.
All right, let's get into our breakdown, dude. Let's move through this.
Break it down.
All right, so let's start with the quarterbacks here. We'll go through each quarterback. Let me click here. So in order of pricing, we've got Jalen Hurts at 8K, and then there's a significant drop-off to Joe Burrow at 66, and then there's even another drop-off there to Stafford and Baker Mayfield at 5,600 and 5,500. I like, dude, call me crazy, but I like Baker Mayfield at 5,500. I like Matt Stafford at 5,600 going up against Cincinnati. We know that Matt Stafford has found a way to get this pass game going despite them, being 1-1 at this point. But Hurts is 8K. Where are we going here, man? And then Jake Browning's 5K. For Showdown Slate, I would consider playing him at his price. Consider it if you did start. But he's 5K. I'd rather just pay $500 more to get Baker Mayfield. I think that's just an obvious choice, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, I think you go with a guy like Jalen Hurts, probably more towards a cash build, single entry. I like Jalen Hurts, but we all know his upside. I don't think he's going to come out and vulture 2 more 1-yard touchdowns, but we said that for the entire season last year. So who knows? Don't ever sleep on Jalen Hurts. Now, if you want to run him, he's probably going to be 25-30% owned. So you probably want to look at maybe some naked Jalen Hurts stacks without any of his pass catchers, just to hope that you get some upside there. But outside of that, man, Joe Burrow, again, like I'm leaning towards him being out. I'm not heavily interested, but if he does end up playing at 6,600, it's kind of a weird price. You think he'd be close to like 7,400, but it looks like just because of the struggles that his offense has had, they're going to price him down. But yeah, outside of that, Baker and Matthew Stafford, I love getting to them. I'm going to be taking their wide receivers in as many lineups as I can anyway. So why not take the quarterbacks too? And they're so goddamn cheap. You can get a bunch of the other wide receivers.
Yeah, if Burrow plays, I mean, this is a good matchup for him. As long as that offensive front can actually pass protect for him, which historically we know they usually can't. But if they can kind of get him some time, he's going to eat apart this Rams secondary. So if he does play, I am interested. But I don't know if he will. All right, let's go to running backs. We'll start salary-wise. So Joe Mixon, 6,300. Rachaad White's 5,900. We got DeAndre Swift at 58. And look who's down here at 5,700. Kyren Williams, the talk of the town. Dude, Kyren Williams, 5,700, man. I might have him in every lineup. He's going to get involved. They're really involving him a ton in this offense, along with Puka Nacua. He's just getting a ton of touches, and he's on the field almost every play. Kenneth Gainwell is 4,900. Is he worth taking a risk on in a slate like this where the prices are kind of compacted? There's really not a huge gap here. So is Gainwell worth the risk at 4,900? And who's your favorite guy here?
Probably Kyren Williams at 5,700. I mean, we know for certain that he's going to get, I don't know, 18 to 22 touches. Sean McVay is going to use and abuse his running backs. I mean, we saw what happened with Todd Gurley. Like, it's his fault this running back situation exists. because of what he did with Todd Gurley. So yeah, I like Kyron Williams, 5,700. Then Kenny G at 4,900 is excellent. I think it can be weird too if you want to get a little bit crazy and do Kenny G and DeAndre Swift. I think kind of what we saw from DeAndre Swift last year, they might be willing to work him into the passing game more and leave Kenny G in the backfield just as their true like kind of lead halfback. So I do think that there's an opportunity to see those guys worked in. But those are probably the three that I'm going to be targeting the most. Probably mostly Kyron Williams and Kenneth Gainwell, though.
Rashad White to me feels like he has a bad matchup. I don't know how interested I am in him, but to me, Joe Mixon, whether Burrow's in or out, more specifically if Burrow's out, but I think that it's going to be important for them to really rely on Joe Mixon in this game. This is a good matchup. He should be able to get work. He should be able to get 100 yards rushing in this game and a couple receptions. I really think that he is kind of a necessary piece to a lot of my lineups. If Burrow's out, you could argue, well, Joe Mixon is going to get game scripted out, sort of a thing. But I think they're planning on feeding him this week, and I really expect to see him touch the ball 20 times. This is pure guessing on my part, but I think it's a good matchup. Wide receivers. So Jamar Chase has had a slow year. He's 7,800. AJ Brown 7,400. Devontae Smith 7,300. These are expensive dudes to pair with Hurts. Puka Nacua is down at 6,400. He has an oblique injury like we talked about. He should play. He's questionable. Mike Evans, dude, 6,300. T. Higgins had a good week last week at 6,200. 5,700 for Chris Godwin. You go all the way down here to Trey Palmer at 3,100, who's the de facto number 3 guy on this Tampa Bay team who should pass the ball a lot. And he's on the field 60% of the time. So I think you got to think about Trey Palmer here. Anybody else interest you? I know there's some other dudes, some Trenton Irwin. We actually didn't even mention Irv Smith being out. We'll get to that here in tight ends. But Trenton Irwin with Irv Smith out, maybe they want run some more 3 wide receivers. I was seeing that kind of spread around. Devin Tompkins is 3K. Another guy who could come in and get a couple snaps. He's a fast dude. Thoughts on any of these dudes? Olamide Zaccheaus even down here at the bottom.
Yeah. So look, I think obviously Jamar Chase is a guy that you play if Joe Burrow's in, and if you want to have a little bit of exposure to him outside of just as a single player in that game, you're good. 7,800 is fine. We know that what he's capable of. I honestly am not going to spend too much time here talking about the top end dudes, just because we all know what AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith can do. I think Nacua is just at 6,400. He's still not priced for 20 targets, 15 receptions, right? He's projected for the reception points that he had last week alone. If he had 15 receptions for 0 yards, that's his projection for this week. So to me, that's just kind of fucking crazy. And then, Mike Evans, T. Higgins, and Chris Godwin, that price range right there is just, it's pretty elite to me. I think you can build what you need to with those 4 guys and then kind of just rotate pieces from around. And then to your point, I think you do, if you're using a Baker Mayfield quarterback, you need to get weird. So I don't mind throwing in Trey Palmer or some of those other guys. And if you want a more detailed breakdown or look into some of these deeper plays, we really break that down on our Monday Night Showdown
Ad
shows.
nauseam.
You guys yeah, I mean, you guys watch our other shows, so you understand how we talk about some of these $200 players. So yeah, man, I think that price range is fine, and then it's going to give you the flexibility to pay up if you want to get to one of these other guys or punt elsewhere if you'd like to.
Evans, Godwin stacks with Baker is going to be money for me. I really think that can pop off with the ownership and the pricing. Tight ends. So like I said, Irv Smith is doubtful. Okay, so he's not officially out, but I don't remember last time somebody was doubtful and then they magically got better. So he's out. That means we're opening up for Drew Sample here. He's the bare minimum on these main slate formats at $2,500. That's an interesting play. He's projected for about 6 points. He's going to be on the field a lot. These tight ends haven't gotten involved quite yet this year, but if Browning starts, how do you help a young quarterback slow the game down? You design routes for their tight ends and you get them involved. Dallas Goedert's 4,800. Hasn't looked too hot this year necessarily, but we know he's going to get his eventually. We know he's going to have his 2 touchdown games. Is this the week? I don't know. He's $4,800. He's well priced. Tyler Higbee with, Puka Nacua is going to get his. Tutu Atwell, these guys, Van Jefferson. I know we didn't talk too much about those guys, but they're decent options. Tyler Higbee is also one of those options at 4,400. He's always one of these guys that If you forget about him, he'll come out and catch 2 touchdowns. And if you play him after a good week, he'll get you 2 receptions for 7 yards. It's just kind of how it is. Any interest in Kate Otten here? Where are you going tight end wise? Because we got to play at least one of these guys. So do you just say F it, go low with Drew Sample and hope he can catch a touchdown? Or do you pay up a little bit, pay up about $2,000 to get some of these topper end dudes?
So I think you take the bottom with Drew Sample when you're looking at cash single entry, things along those lines. 2,500, it's just it's just a fine play. But the other guys are guys you want to get a little bit of exposure to in deeper GPPs. No, not even deeper GPPs, just in GPPs to get a little bit of flexibility. Going up 2K is a pretty steep price to pay for Dallas Goedert, who hasn't done anything yet. So I do think his ownership probably be like under 15%. On a 2-game slate, that's interesting to me. Tyler Higbee, again, like if Nakua is not 100% and any of those volume goes elsewhere, it's probably going to be Tyler Higbee. Like those are just the 2 guys that tend to get the volume. And even then, like he's probably the second, they're the number 2 target at this point, right? 2-2 van, they add in their stuff, but those are different parts of the offense. Like for consistent volume, like I think it goes Nakua and then Higbee. And then, same thing with Kate Otten. Again, I'll probably have more Evans and Godwin, obviously, but like I think you can sprinkle some in. I mean, at 3K, that's a much more palatable price, paying up $500 to get to him as opposed to the 2,200 to get to Goddard or whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like Drew Sample's ownership is going to be there. Kate Otten might be double the ownership potentially. Kate Otten might be the highest owned dude at tight end, which is interesting. If that's true, I will be playing a lot more Drew Sample if those ownership projections come out closer to lock and we see that. And obviously, I'm not really building a whole lot until I know whether or not Burrow is going to be in or not. Hopefully we get some news throughout the day tomorrow that says one way or the other. Most likely it's going to go, if he's out, we'll learn early in the day, unless they're just trying to F with us and hold him out as late as possible and then announce him out. So defenses, we got to play a defense on these classic slates. Eagles 3,300, Bengals 3K, Rams 2,800, Buccaneers 2,600. Who's your favorite option here? I personally think you just spread out. I think the Eagles are like the easy choice, but also it looks like the Bengals are catching some ownership at 3K, going up against the Rams. I don't know about that, man. Like, do you think that if the Bengals defense is really coming in around 40% ownership, is that a fade for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you probably shouldn't have 25% or over 25% of any of these teams unless you think one of these games is going to be a total blowout. Like if you think the Eagles are going to beat the shit out of the Buccaneers, like 47-17, then you don't need any Buccaneers defense, obviously. But like I don't know, man. Like I just don't know that the Bengals are going to do that to the Rams. Like if anything, that game turns into a shootout because the Rams defense is so bad. So I think you're looking at. Honestly, I don't mind the Buccaneers defense either, right? Like if that Eagles game is mucked up, like it could easily be 17-14. Just a game where they ran the ball. Philly ran the ball 45, 50 times and Baker, whatever. Anyways, you get what I'm saying. Rotate in these defenses and don't be willing or don't get too crazy. Like you're probably, if one of them scores 2 touchdowns, then you're fucked anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, if we think that Joe Burrow is going to be out, the Rams defense is going to be the highest owned defense. You'd have to think, right? I know they are the worst ranked defense in the league, but they're going up against a dude that nobody knows about. So you'd have to think that would flop. All right, let's go to our values here. Some of our favorite value options. I'm just going to sort by value and see what the Sims are telling us here. Baker Mayfield, top value option on the slate. You get the raw points and you get $5,500 price tag on a classic slate. That's pretty good. Matt Stafford is up there. Kyron Williams, Joe Mixon. Let's look at actual like true value type, like low price dudes. The Rams are up there. You got Kate Otten, you got Drew Sample. Who's your favorite value? And when I say value, I guess I'm talking about more of these lower end price dudes. It's got to be Trey Palmer, right? Or Drew Sample, right?
I'm probably leaning a little bit more towards Trey Palmer. I'm sorry. I was going to say Drew Sample, but Drew Sample, I like him a lot more for Showdown because he's $200. Well, so is Trey Palmer, so it's not that big of a deal. But here, like one big play for a wide receiver is one touchdown for 60 or one reception 60 yards. One big play for a tight end is like 18 yards and you caught it over 15 people. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think Trey Palmer just gives you a lot more ceiling. And if for whatever reason that defense in Philly locks down Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, like wasn't Avonte Maddox one of their slot guys anyway? So like that just opens up more for Trey Palmer.
Yeah. All right, let's build some lineups, dude. Let's mess with all this stuff. We're gonna pretend that Joe Burrow's in for right now. Let's just get that out of the way. Let's build some Joe Burrow stacks and let's see what we got to do. What do we need to do in the flex? Like, do I feel like a lot of people are going to be playing running backs in the flex potentially? Do we want to put a wide receiver there instead? And do we need a run back on some of these? I think it's all case by case, each lineup by each lineup, especially on a 2-game slate. We can kind of zoom in a little bit more and play some of these more showdown strategy types where you can play 3rd or 4th string dudes. So let's put Burrow in. Who do you want to pair with him?
Let's go Chase and Drew Sample just right out the gate.
All right. Where are you, Drew? He's buried with all these $2,500 dudes. Where is he? There he is. All right, what's next? We got to get we could do a two run back here if we wanted to. If we wanted to get crazy with this game and then maybe do a 1v1 or a 2v2 on the other game.
Do exactly what you're thinking with the 2 as well. And play
Puka,
Williams and
Kyron. Yeah. Boom, game stack. We got 3 spots open in a defense. I think we got to go one. Okay, so which skill position player from the Eagles are we interested in? Are we interested in the running back position? What are you thinking?
So I think, first thing, I think the logical thing we need to do here is probably put in the Philly defense, right?
Yeah, let's
because we're not doing
let's do it.
That other game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I think
Gainwell.
Man, I would love to play Kenny G here. I think it's perfect.
All right, let's do it. Let's put Gainwell in. I think we need. Do you want to get 2 Eagles in this game and then one guy from Tampa Bay, or the other way around?
Let's do 2 Eagles and then 1 Tampa Bay. So let's throw in Godwin, and then can we get to AJ Brown?
We can't get to either.
Damn,
we can't get to either, man. That sucks. Let's go down from Chase to T Higgins. Are you okay with that? If we change it up,
that's fine. Yeah.
All right, so for our podcast,
should give some notes to get up.
For our podcast listeners, we got Burrow, Kyron Williams, Gainwell, T. Higgins, Nakua, Godwin, Sample, Eagles defense, and that leaves us with 8,700 to do whatever the hell we want in the flex. AJ Brown, you leave a little bit of money on the table here. Totally cool with that. This is a 2-gamer. Devontae Smith, that's kind of interesting. What do you think about this lineup? I think it's interesting if you think that the Cincinnati Rams game can go off, right?
I like it. I mean, dude, if you want to, you can play Jamar Chase instead of Devontae Smith. You can get real weird here if you feel like it. So yeah,
that last spot there, that flex spot, nice. All right, let's build a Baker lineup. So let's do both the boys, right? Evans, Godwin. Let's start there, and if we get pinched, we could switch one of these guys out for Trey Palmer potentially. All right, let's run it back with some Philly guys. Let's do a little game stack action here, and let's focus on this game being a little bit higher scoring than Vegas thinks it's going to be. Where are we going? You want to go running back? You want to go Swift? You want to go two pass catchers on the other side? What are we thinking?
Let's do. I actually don't mind. Let's try and do Swift, and then let's do Devontae Smith, and just see where we're at.
All right, Swift. So Mayfield, Swift, Evans, Godwin, Devontae Smith. We got plenty of salary here. What do we want to do with this other game? Do we want to get crazier with this game, or do we want to focus on the second game?
Okay, hear me out. Throw in Kate Otten.
All right.
I don't know if I necessarily want to pay up for Goddard or Higbee in this lineup.
Yeah.
And then for running back, let's throw in Kyron Williams.
Kyron, okay. That leaves us. Do you want to pick a defense first?
Yeah. Our construction looks like we should probably go Rams defense.
Probably. Yep, you're probably right, and that leaves us with whoever we want in this last spot.
I mean, I don't hate it.
Nakua.
Like, I wouldn't even hate playing Jamar Chase against that the Rams deep. But yeah, I mean, Nakua is probably the smarter play. But like, you can rotate that entire spot if you want with literally anybody.
Yeah, and these defenses, I'm not afraid to play them against a couple. Like in a bigger contest, there is a world where you play the defense against the stack. It's probably stupid, but all you need is one pick six, which is not really a negative to the quarterback. Only have 1 point. And the other defense goes off. That's probably not what we want to be doing. That's why we're kind of focusing on the other game as the defenses. But dude, you can do whatever the hell you want with Baker Mayfield. You can get both of his guys. Let's take Cade Otton out, and let's go with Goddard here. What do you think about that? We got three Phillies. You got a basically 6 players from this game. That still leaves you with Rachaad White, Tutu Atwell, Gainwell, Higbee in the flex if you wanted. You can get crazier with that. Let's do one without Mike Evans, and let's put Trey Palmer in there. Let's see if we if that's even worth it, right? So Palmer, let's do the studs. I want to get Joe Mixon in here.
Yeah,
I want to get Kyron Williams in here. We got enough to work with. Let's get some of these other studs. So AJ Brown or Devontae Smith. We probably have to choose one of these guys, don't you think?
Let's go AJ Brown. We haven't built with him yet.
All right, AJ Brown. Plenty to work with. Who do you want at tight end here, man?
You want to be weird? You want to go with let's go with Goddard. Let's go with Goddard, man. I don't mind him in this one.
All right, I think we got to get a Bengal. So do we want to? Or I know we have one Bengal, but maybe we want to get another one. Or no, we should get another Philly guy. I don't know, dude. I'm sorry. I'm rambling on. Who's the next guy we want here to flex? LA.
Throw in Nakua.
Puka.
Yeah, I mean, you can still do whatever you want, right? Like, I mean, if we just pick your defense, and you can literally rotate that spot again. Like, you want Higgins, you can get Higgins. There's so much salary flexibility.
Yeah.
And on a 2-gamer, I don't mind doing this because, especially on a slate like this, like if people are playing Baker, like because of the flexibility he gives you, you might have to leave salary on the table so you're not duplicating with everybody else who has a similar lineup, maxing out that salary.
So for the podcasters, Mayfield, Mixon, Kyron Williams, Trey Palmer, Godwin, Brown, Goddard, Nakua. Dude, there's just so many damn options here. I'm going to try to get as many different lineups as I possibly can in this. I'm going to try to get 80 plus lineups and just get as many combinations as possible. Let's do a Hurts one. We got to do Hurts now. I know we haven't done Stafford. Maybe we'll do that last. Let's just do Hurts first, though. So, what's the game script you're thinking for this game? Is this a 2 rushing touchdown, push the pile, vulture Swift situation here for Hurts? Maybe we just pair him with one of his pass catchers, or pair him with the running back even. I don't know. What do you think?
I think you can pair him with a running back, but I do like pairing him with one of his pass catchers. You want to go with Devontae Smith?
Yeah, let's go Devontae. And they're both so priced close together, these guys, that you could just plug and play either one. All right. So let's go Hurts, Smith. Let's get a run back from Tampa Bay. We probably want to go Evans or Higgins, or I'm sorry, Evans or Godwin.
I just love Godwin because of his price, man.
Yeah, he's priced well in both Showdown and this main slate. Let's do a Hurts, Smith, Godwin, little stack here, and then let's stack up this other game maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, let's throw in Puka.
Let's go here. Let's do this. Let's go Mixon, Kyron, Puka. We got so much salary, man. Let's get a stud in the flex. Do you want Jamar Chase? Do you want Higgins?
Yeah, go Jamar Chase. And then defense, put in Philly.
I don't think we can't do it. We got to go lower than Jamar Chase. We got to go T. Higgins, and we might be able to pull this off. So Philly, it's going to be too much. Yeah. We don't have it in us. So let's go a little bit lower here in the flex. Devontae Smith, that's probably more reasonable. We can get to Gainwell here. Goddard. What do you think about Gainwell here? Or do you want to find our value? Do you want to just go with Drew Sample here at tight end?
Yeah, let's punt tight end real quick. And then we'll see how much we have.
Let's get our defense. Do you want to go with the Eagles like you were saying?
Yeah, we're still gonna have to. I guess that's fine.
Goddard, Higbee. You can go all the way down, much lower than that if you want. Boyd and all these dudes are like way leaving money on the table, but probably like a Goddard Higbee situation. You got two tight ends in your lineup. I don't necessarily hate it. What could we do different here? Do you want to go down from the defense? You want to go? What defense works well here? Is this maybe Rams defense here?
Yeah, I think we can try Rams defense.
Let's try it. See if it does anything for us. 5,300. It gets us to Tutu Atwell. So
Kenny G.
And Kenny G. So we got Hurts, Mixon, Kyron Williams, Devontae Smith, Godwin, Nakua, Sample, Gainwell, Rams. Interesting. Let's build one more and we'll get the hell out of here. Let's build with Stafford, dude. So you want to do? Is this a fade Kyron situation, or do you want to involve him as well?
Let's fade Kyron. Let's go Joe Mixon, and let's actually throw in T Higgins too, and let's go Puka like you said, and then you want to do Tyler Higbee?
Yeah, let's do Tyler Higbee. We haven't really talked about any of these other pass catchers for the Rams. I am interested in them, but their prices are not as interesting as some of these other guys. So we got $1 million to spend here. We've stacked the shit out of this game, so that's nice. Where are we going now? You want to get a running back from the Eagles?
Yeah, I like Kenny G. Like, I just want to put him in.
All right, let's put Kenny G in. Let's do Eagles defense here. Let's say that the Eagles dominate, and we can still get a Tampa Bay guy, but maybe we want to go with another Eagles guy here. We can kind of do whatever we want. You want to go AJ Brown or Devontae Smith?
Yeah, they're throwing AJ Brown. I think we're going to be able to get Godwin at least. Yeah, no, maybe not.
No, almost. This is Tutu Atwell, so you could get Stafford, Puka, Higbee, and Tutu with a run back of Higgins and Mixon, and then you're focusing on defense on the other game. You could do Goddard here too. I mean, there's just a million options. What if we punted at tight end here? Let's go to sample. Let's just see what this does for us. 7,400. Devontae Smith, Mike Evans. So you can get Mike Evans or Godwin here if you wanted to. Stafford, Mixon, Gainwell, Nakua, Higgins, Brown, Sample, Evans, Eagles. Man, there's like unlimited possibilities with this one. What's jumping out to you, man? Roster construction wise, anything you're thinking about? How crazy do we need to get? Do we need to leave 5,000 on the table? Do we need to play a defense against a stack? Like, probably not. How crazy are we getting if we're entering into this big contest, which I don't suggest doing except for like maybe one lineup?
Yeah, man. I mean, we saw it last week in the 2-gamer. You needed to have some wild shit going on, but backup running backs. I'm not saying the same thing is going to happen tomorrow night, and you obviously can't necessarily be prepared for that. But you're going to need to leave a little bit of salary on the table. I don't know if you need to go as crazy as like 5K, but probably somewhere between 1,500 to 3K would probably be reasonable. But other than that, man, just I had fun doing a couple of these 2-gamers, and see when we get the next one. In the meantime, if you guys want to see us on Monday night, become a member, and then we'll do our Monday night shows for you guys here every Monday. Whenever game comes up, we'll do it.
So the biggest question I have for you is, which 60% owned guy is going to tear his ACL, MCL in this game?
It might actually be Joe Burrow.
Oh shit! Or his Achilles.
Yeah.
Join that Discord. Throw us a like on the way out. Let's get to 50 likes on this video. We appreciate you guys. Join the Discord. Obviously, if Burrow's out, we'll be talking about that. If he's in, we'll be talking about that. We'll wait until inactives come out. We will see you guys later for Thursday Night Football.